So in the previous video I started to build a boom on the excavator to fit the harvester head I bought. So in this video we're gonna finish that, trying that thing for real. And at the same time having a little camping adventure. Cooking some food, having a sauna, just relaxing in the woods. The thing I haven't done yet is connect this. So I need to connect that to the machine, and we also got to install 2 new valves onto the harvester head here. So in order to make the controls for the cab there, we're gonna need 2 buttons. I would like to find a button I could press with the foot, but I don't think I have that though. I do have buttons like that. We also gonna need to find ourselves a connector that goes from the boom to the machine. So if I take that boom off, I can just disconnect that. So. So this thing we could steal buttons from. So these are just normal on-off switches. Saving that. Oh, here it is. This is what I was searching for. Okay, so I found this. So this is an old panel I built for my wood processor I had, mounted to the skidster if you wanted to run that thing when you were inside the skidster driving that. These were supposed to be mounted onto the joysticks there. So I'm gonna use this as a connector from the boom. So these weld plates will fit the spacing here. Alright, so you can see it's a perfect fit here. Just gonna drill that. So perfect length with 2 washers here. So I had to go to the store to get this. So this is 7 cables inside of a rather soft one, so it's easy to pull. besides the machine there. So that is gonna go here. Oh. This is my wood processor I built a lot of years ago now for the skidster. So you mount the skidster here, and the plan with this was so you can drive around with the skidster and pick up the logs here. Just grip them and they will roll onto there. At first I made a control to control these relays here from inside the cab, the one I showed there. But then I ended up putting a remote control unit here instead. So I had this stationary and just loaded that with the excavator. I'm really thinking about I should make something more effective this winter. Yeah, well, that's a later issue. But here is the contact we're gonna steal from this. That thing is no longer needed. Just gonna cut that off. Oh, I forgot the tools. Even my knife is gone. Let's see if we can find something. So Gramps wanted to go out the forest, seeing the place we're gonna try first with the harvester. So let's go pick him up and have a look where we're gonna start with that thing.
Du kan börja här, ta det här diket. Här kan du ta det här. De på bägge sidorna här. Solkvastar, men de kan vara lite större.
Ja, den kan jag ju rensa fram. Okay, now we can see this. Have it going like that. All right. So this is much better. They're getting a little long though, so we can cut it off. So. So we have two solenoids, one there and one here. So two cables. It's gonna get them connected. So I do have this marking machine with shrinking tube. So I gotta write on the cables what they are. Okay, let's get one for the boom. Boom cylinder. Print that. Alright. The other one is grapple. So we're gonna make a big one there. That is coming like that. Yeah, so these are for the grapple. And this is for the... I don't need to have that long. I think boom is enough. So we're gonna leave 1 and 6 for, that is the thicker cable if we're gonna draw some lights later on. 4 and 7. So I'm just putting this on the worst spots right now, where I know that it's gonna touch like that. And then when I buy some, I gotta buy other sizes of this, so I could get a complete sleeve, putting all the three of these in. So let's pull this cable inside the cab there. Nah, we're gonna need to get the cable up first. So everything is installed to this point here now. Now we're just gonna install the cable. What I'm thinking is that, so the cable here now, when I'm not using this grapple, we're just gonna disconnect that, taking off the hydraulics here and pull that off. But this outlet here, that is still gonna be used for other stuff. So whatever I build with the function that it's connected to the joysticks. So my joysticks, as it is right now, is that, so I got these. That is steering one of the outlets and this is steering the other. I believe these buttons are the same as this. If you don't want to use this or it breaks, you can use these two for that function. But that is the horn and this is for the idle, when you're driving, if you want to put it in idle or not. But the thing is that I want more buttons on these. So I'm kind of starting to think I'm gonna buy other joysticks. So I don't really want to spend a lot of time building temporary solutions now to just being able to use this. So I'm thinking I'm gonna do something simple. These are kind of bulky putting there, so I don't want something like that on the joystick. It's just in the way. So I'm thinking I'm gonna use these buttons. Let's build this. We're building a simple connection box. I'm just gonna test if these buttons work. You never know. Should hear a beep. Yeah. That works. This one. Yep. Sure. Put it like that. Put this. Okay, now we got two buttons. So I'm thinking I'm just gonna have this here as a starter. And stealing the power from that. So we're gonna need to go and get a plug for this. So I do have a plug in my old excavator. Let's go there and steal that. Since I built this overpass here. That is holding on good. We're gonna steal the plug from this. Oh, that is coming down. Well, we've got good ventilation in here now. Okay. So was thinking about stealing this one here. We do not need that. So that is going for that one. Not really needed here in the forest. This thing is kind of living here in the forest now. I don't see him doing any work with this in a populated area where that is needed. Those. Let's just see if this starts. Got a bit of water in that. I just realized the cable on this is extremely thin, but it's good for what we're gonna use it for. Can shorten this a little bit. Flat connectors. All right, so everything now is connected. So there's power going to this, and when I switch this on, power is sent to the yellow cable here, and I'll switch this on, the power is sent to the green cable here. Yellow is ground and black is ground. Let me take that ground. I'm just gonna use a Vago clip for this. Okay. And one is for the grapple and one is for the boom. I can't say I remember which, but that doesn't matter. Like that. I'm just gonna leave it laying here. So I do have this. So this is a relay box, and there's supposed to be fuses there. So I was thinking about building this together and put that behind the excavator seat, connecting the cables in this. So we're gonna do that when I got new joysticks. Alright, so let's test if the solenoid works. So the solenoid isn't powered. So now we should get the saw function in this. Yeah, and the rotation here. Works. Then we're gonna power this one. See what that is. Oh, that is for the boom. So this one should be for the grapple. That's control. Close off, and now we got the rotation and the solvage. The last step now is to install this. So it was supposed to be included when I ordered this, but they didn't have that at that time, so I'm just gonna install it by myself. So this kit here is meant so when you're doing the stroke in that the pressure isn't too high and it drops the log. So I had that happening when I did test run with this. You need to drill a 7mm hole at a distance of 52mm from that edge. There we're going 50, and from that we go out 7mm, and that is. So it should sit like that. Well, this doesn't fit here. Looking at this drawing, there's supposed to be a baniou fitting there and a baniou fitting. So the baniou fittings are going for this valve. These are the baniou fittings going here. These baniou fittings doesn't fit very well in this. No, I got the wrong fittings. So they squeezed the wrong connection onto these hoses. These are too big. It doesn't fit. Oh, it doesn't fit in the existing valve descent. Not sure if it's supposed to be another valve with bigger holes or, well, it doesn't fit in this anyway. So I do have another one, a similar relief valve, but this is bigger and it's not really fitting there. I tried that. It could be possible to get this to fit, but I do have other baniou fittings that will fit this. Only one screw though. I can only make one hose with a baniou fitting, but I think I can use a normal fitting here. So we're gonna need to squeeze new hoses here. Luckily we can do that. We have a lot of couplers. Yeah, let's install everything else first, just to see that everything else is correct and we can get this installed. Here. So this hose is going in the orientation coming in from the back there, but yeah, we're gonna need to loosen this up where it's connected so we can turn that. So that hose is installed. Where's that even going? The last T connection I have are going above here. I think I should have that hose here. So I'm waiting for another shipment with couplers. But I think I have what I need in this. Too big. Oh, yes, we have that. So this is the hose we're needing, I think. What is this? Is it 1/4, 6.3mm? So I never ordered baniou fittings. I'm gonna do that though. Those are always good to have. But now we're gonna find the fitting going for that hose. So we do have male and we do have 90-degree coupler, so we gotta we gotta solve it with this. So this hole needs to get plugged since it's not being used. So in order to plug that, we're gonna steal the plug from this. This. You're getting some hail. Change of plan. Since we don't have the right connectors, we only have these two in this size. That is a bad fit, so we can instead just put the valve straight onto this. So what if we make it like that? That. Last thing now is to install the sequence valve. So that is easy. It just goes between the hoses here, and that is meant to keep a pressure inside of this to hold that a little better. So there is quite a drive where we are going now. So I'm gonna make this sitting stuck here so it doesn't move around. So when I was building this, I had an initial plan to make something so I could get this thing stuck onto here. So when I'm using the grapple, this isn't in the way and going around like that. I kind of overlooked that when I was building this, and then I just realized when I was painting this, yeah, I was supposed to make something like that. But we're gonna look at that later. Now we're gonna get this out the force and start using it. So reason for having a battery there, even though I got power coming in here, is that I don't have power going through that rotator. So I gotta need another rotator if I want to use this kind of power. So. So the grapple here feels it's a little bit too slow. So we're gonna see if we can loosen that up a little bit. But I am gonna need to tighten this chain. That thing is really loose. You can see, I need to tighten that. That's loose. How do you tighten this? How are you supposed to loosen? What is that for? So, yeah, I mean, you can see this thing. It's like you're supposed to turn this, and are you supposed to knock on that? Oh, that's how you do it. I'm just getting, that's getting too stiff. Because when you're tightening that bolt down, it's gonna get even harder than that. It's kind of loose. Let's try tightening this now. Gotta try to adjust this valve just a little bit. Okay, so that is loose. We're gonna screw it out. We'll try it like that. Alright, that works better. So it doesn't really take the twigs off. So this thing, well, it kind of takes off twigs, but not as good as it should. So the pressure from the limbing knife seems to be a little bit low because it's leaving a lot of branches left on the tree. Yeah, so I don't know. I gotta try tighten this just a little bit, seeing if that helps. So it seems like when I come to twigs like this, bigger one, that thing is just gonna keep going with that twig. So after that it's no going back, like here. Then it's just starting to leave everything from that. But even this big log, it still leaves. You see, these things are pushed in rather than the limb. So I've adjusted this a little bit more. So I gotta test it now. Okay, so it's starting to go a little bit better now. This thing is rather clean, I would say. So the thing I learned is that when you take a grip off the tree and that thing is sawing the tree off, the pressure will squeeze up against here. So when you lift the tree away, the tree isn't gonna fall off its own if it's not, well, if it's heavy enough, it's still gonna fall. But you need to let off a little bit of pressure to get this thing to back up in order for it to fall. And if you let too much pressure out, it's also starting to opening the arms. So the thing is to just a quick nudge on the bottom there to let off the pressure, so it doesn't start letting off pressure here. Because if you let off pressure here, the result is going to be terrible on the log. You get a much cleaner result on the log if you don't let off too much pressure. So just a little quick, so it starts falling. And well, then the log's starting to look like this. Well, I gotta keep on working with this, but first we're gonna need to go and make some coffee. I also got some hot dogs with me. So there is a logging cabin 2 kilometers in the forest. So let's go to that. All right. So here we got ourselves. We got a private pool down there. We got a sauna. We got a cabin. We got a wood storage. And we got a toilet. This is like being in a hotel. Hopefully we got some firewood. Oh yes. There is a chance though that our little pool here might be flooded with frogs. There's a lot of frogs this year. You can hear them making a sound. Well, I did hear some splashes here. And there's no fish living in this. You could hear them doing the classical frog sound. First I thought it was a 4-stroke. A dirt bike coming, but it was just frogs. Okay, so for dinner I found this in the store. Mac and cheese. Might be a good for a snack, but I think we're gonna go with the sausage and the buns, the hot dogs. I also bought some dessert I'm gonna make. Yeah, we're just having a coffee break right now, so we're gonna make some coffee and hot dogs. So while my hot dogs are being cooked there, I gotta need to go and get some water. So there's a cold spring close by here. We can get some clean water from. I like the contrast of thinking that, I mean, a few months ago we had -40 here. Now it's all warm. The birds are chirping. And you can even feel you want to take your sweater off. So yeah, summer is coming. Oh, there it is. So this is some clean fresh water. Clean that off. Let's do a taste test on this. Tastes exactly the same thing as the water you buy. See, you can see how the water is pouring up down there. Wanna have a look? Let's dive down. Should make a little bridge going here. Take that with us. Almost forgot about my hot dogs there. Get some mustard. Oh, look at that hot dog plate. I'll get some coffee on that. It was a well-needed coffee, but no time to lose. We're gonna need to get back there. Just gonna leave the stuff here, so we got some dinner waiting for us and dessert. Got a leaking copper. Is that loose? Oh, yeah, that is completely loose. So I'm just trying to take whatever looks kind of decent here. Yeah. So there's probably a technique when doing this. How you should, where you should put the twigs, where you should put a log. But yeah, I'm just putting it to the side here. And twigs wherever they end up, but I try to throw them there. Now we got one we just can't reach. Well, I could if I put some engagement to it, but yeah, we can't reach that, so we gotta switch on the boom. Scooching that out a little. Yeah, I would like a foot pedal for that, so you easily could switch, or that it's on the actual joystick, which I'm thinking about doing. so this is working fine. The more you use it, the more you can just sit back and relax, and you just trust your muscle memory there in your fingers. There's still some getting used to here, but it's really fun actually getting started now. I also like the function to be able to use the grapple. Even though it's stiff, I can't rotate that grapple. It's still a neat way to kind of put everything in a sort of a pile here. So it's easier for Gramps to get that later on. It would be nice being able to put the harvester stuck when using the grapple though. I do have an idea for that, for a future fix. So I'm starting to get hungry again. I think it's time for a little bit of mac and cheese with dessert here. Let's go back there. Here is the cabin though. Got a bed, we got a table, we got a stove. Not sure if this thing has gas. Not there at least. Oh, no. It's not connected. So, slight change of plan here. So the missus just called. I was about to make my mac and cheese, but she has started a grill at home. Yeah, I think I'm gonna take that tonight instead. So the thing is that tomorrow I got the morning shift at the airport. 0400, and I get it rather late right now. So I think we're gonna call it the quits for today. And we're gonna be back here tomorrow. So I think I'm gonna bring my sleeping bag with me. I think we're gonna take one night in this cabin, having a nice hirvisauna at the night there. Okay, so we're early in the next day now. I'm just gonna handle the morning traffic here at the airport, and then we're gonna go and, well, get back to the forest. Wind variable 330, 4 knots. So there's a lot of clouds coming in here. We're gonna see if it gets a sunny day or a rainy day. 010 degree, 2 knots, no reported traffic, runway 29er. Got 39er. Air 11, airborne 39er. Contact Sweden control at 131.055. So I fill this with food so we can survive the night out in the forest. So I did bring some diesel with me here. I'm gonna measure how much this thing consumes. Here you have the fuel level where this bowl is floating. So if you put a little mark above that. Okay, so now we got a mark. Diesel level is there. So I'm gonna reset the trip here so you can see the hours. Alright, now it's set to 0 hours. So I gotta drive for a while now, and then we're gonna test how much this thing consumes per hour. So it's time to grease that thing. I've been driving now for, I think it's around 2 hours. Oh, it's starting to get a little bit. Well, a lot of branches at least. I'm so grateful for my own decision of installing an automatic greasing system for this excavator. So I do not regret that decision. That was a good decision. I could install a grease block for this also, but nah. The points where the grease are going are kinda in the danger zone, so the grease hoses are probably gonna get ripped out rather fast. Feels a little moist in here. Maybe I should do a fire there to heat up this cabin. Alright, let's see what we got. So we got some mac and cheese. Oh, this is good. So this is for later. This is grilled cheese. Burgers. Leftover barbecue from yesterday. We can make that. Mac and cheese and some leftover barbecue. Is that hail? Looks like it's starting to hail now. These are the leftovers from yesterday. Pour the content in the boiling water. Cook 9 to 11 minutes, stirring occasionally. I guess in that speed it's just gotta be 8 minutes. So this has been cooking now for, well, a little bit over 8 minutes. The water seems to be almost completely gone. These are 2 servings though. Start with that. Feels a little bit artificial, kind of expected there. It's good though. The missus really can cook. Something I learned with the saw when using that on smaller stuff is that if you use the saw just pushing that thing down so it goes beneath the thing you want to cut, that's why it's getting stuck like it did for me a few times. So you just need to use the saw as long as needed and then just let it go back. Bigger stuff isn't that springy though, but just the smaller stuff that is like this. So if the saw is pushing like this, it's so springy so it doesn't cut straight away. It kind of pushes down a little bit before it starts to cut. And when that is cut, that thing springs back up and the saw gets stuck beneath that. So you just need to, just so the saw is past and then let it up again. That seems to be working. I do have a feeling my mac and cheese might be a little bit burnt into this now. Just look at those frog eggs. So this frog eggs here is just like a jelly. And there's a lot of them. It's like a puddle with eggs there. Let's just have a quick look. It's not really standing straight now. Oh, I think the total runtime is 2.6 hours right now, but the actual driving time is not that long. Maybe 2.2 hours. So something weird is going on now. It feels like an electrical issue. So instead of that thing stroking back, the saw wanna start. So it did a few hiccups with that earlier, but then it disappeared and we're gonna check that. So we got one sensor there and we're gonna have one sensor feeling when the stroke is all the way back. So this valve here is switching when the stroke changes. So I'm guessing the thing is that this doesn't switch. That's why the saw is starting. Let's open this up and check. So the other sensor is down there. So the light is on that sensor down there, meaning that it's getting power than this is all the way out. So that should switch this, right? Is there something going on with this? Has anything been... Oh, everything looks fine as far as I can see. So there is a power issue somewhere. That thing should be lighting up. Shouldn't be any other thing going on here. Is that a relay? Is that a tiny little relay? Can that thing hang? This thing has power. I did measure the battery. What's in this box? I never opened this box. Could there be something interesting in this box? So that thing has to be a relay. It's a small one though. Relay, and we got a relay. How do we test this relay? Let's start off by checking this fuse. Oh, that's not open. We need to connect the battery again. Oh, now it works. Look at that, now it works. Now it's sliding up. We got some shenanigans going on here. Could it be that it's burning stuck somehow? And it's having a hard time opening. And when I closed off the power now, it's kind of reset itself. I don't see any other thing to do than just try. And if it happens again, we could take that and just switch. Seeing if the fault comes back. Now it's not lighting up. That thing should still light up. Is it something in the plug maybe? What's going on? Those are stuck. That is feeding power. Yep, you know what? I feel like this is a tomorrow problem. I really wanna hit that sauna. And it's probably gonna take some time heating up that sauna, so yeah, it's a little bit late now. It's almost 9 o'clock. This thing here, that is for heating the water, and that is cold water. So when you want to shower later on, you take that water and mix with the cold water and you get shower water. For anyone that hasn't seen a sauna before. So for dinner we're getting burgers, classical outdoor food, together with halloumi cheese. This is really good when you grill that. And for dessert we're gonna make cinnamon buns out of pizza dough. Something I want to try for a while. So I do have a new knife with me, so I don't have to use the the old one. So this is something I saw a friend made while she was out snowmobiling quite some while ago. And I've been eager to try that ever since I saw that. Looked good though. So this is just normal pizza though. Okay, I'm not gonna eat even half of this, so we can cut that off. Alright. So onto this now. We want butter. And then we'll take some cinnamon. And then some sugar on that. Probably a lot. Can't really go wrong with sugar. We got some sugar in that. So I do have a banana. I want to try that. Let's make a little piece with bananas. Maybe it's good. Heated bananas. It's a little bit prettier here. Oh, these smell so good. So I do have a new outdoor frying pan. Me and the missus won this when the female basketball team had a lottery. Yep, got the first prize. This together with a box you make fire in. Oh. Alright, that is burnt in. Is this a common thing around the world? Grilled cheese or halloumi, but I think halloumi is a brand, so they can't use that, so everyone is using grilled cheese. Not enough room. Okay, taking that next round. I was just told a lot of butter. So what is that? What does that mean? Is this a lot of butter? Oh. Oh, look at these. This thing is like squeezing when you eat that. Almost like coffee cheese. It's a thing we got here also. This thing is really good. I believe the sauna is getting done. Sounds like the water is boiling inside that. I think you want to do it in the butter there. Oh, that was all fried. Or burnt, maybe you should say. Oh, that one also. Okay, let's give this a test. I want to try the banana one. It kind of tastes like normal buns. Just a little bit more crispy though. It was really good putting the banana in this. I think I should have added more sugar. They feel a little unsugary. Well, that was nice. So I'm looking through the auction sites here on the phone, and I found a 25-ton excavator I might bid on. It would be fun having something like that in the forest. Just an older excavator for making roads and stuff like that. Alright, this is done. So sadly there's no lingonberries or blueberries in the forest now. A little bit too early in the season. You think cinnamon is good in porch? Mwah. Just standing by on that. So this is gonna be a really nice day. We had some cold on the night though, so the puddle started to freeze again. Even the frog pond is a little bit frozen there. Oh, I forgot to filter. Look at that! That is supposed to be connected there. They're not hanging loose like that. Oh. Yeah, so that is leaning in now. Touching there. I wonder if we can get this. If we get this straight again, I think we can kind of still drive with this. No, it's possible. I just gotta leave this here. So the excavator is a few meters that way. So yeah, let's go mess with that instead. I gotta order a new arm for that. Seems like I left the contact in after my testing here, so that thing has definitely drained the battery. So I gotta need to go back to the garage to change this battery because I left the other one there for charging. We got a new battery. So I got a newly charged battery here, so we can outrule that this is the problem. I even measure this. Oh. I think there's a reason why there's a new relay sitting here. This might get full. Oh no. Oh, the leg is bent there. So this is the old. We're putting that there. You live here now. So that did not work. Saw is still starting, so that wasn't the problem. So I gotta try switching the other relay. This is not faulty, that is not faulty. Well, it has to be then if it's a relay problem. Switch that. Switch this. So no change. So it's not a fault in the relays. The only other thing I can think of right now is that this sensor here is faulty. So Gramps is cold. He needed help to put on his timber trailer there on the tractor There's a lot of twigs on the first one here before I got a little flow on that thing. So I gotta go and full search that thing while he's picking up those logs. There we have the sensor I suspect is faulty. Okay, so you see that there's a hole in this beam that goes in here. So now the sensor shouldn't feel anything. There's no metal in front of that. But as soon as this getting in again, that sensor should indicate that it's sensing metal. So that's what it's for. So that indication light seems to be working at least. Let's measure the output, see if that works. Okay, so this is the cable. That is going for the signal wire, which is black. So we're getting a reading of 12 volts. So what happens if we introduce this thing to metal now? Absolutely nothing. So this thing doesn't change state, meaning that is faulty. So we're gonna go to the garage and seeing if I got a spare sensor. So those inductive proximity sensors are widely used in machinery like this to determine a position. So here we got one. That is way too big though. Way too big. Do we have any in the front there? Yeah, there we got one, there we got one. Those are way too big. Here's one. Also too big. I think all of them installed in this machine are too big. Yeah, there we also got one. What is in this box? Oh yeah. This is something I gotta need to get started rather soon. You see that thing is starting to sink down. It's gonna get stuck when it sinks down too much. Yeah, all of them are too big in this. So we gotta keep on searching. So here we have. I know I have this big one, but these are not gonna fit. That hole is rather small. And yeah, we're not gonna customizing this. I gotta get myself a new sensor. I'm just looking for a temporary replacement here. We have one. Is it PNP? Where do we read? So yeah, this is a PNP sensor. I'm not sure if it's normally open or normally closed. This is a cheap sensor I bought when I was building my wood processor there. So I use these for a saw to know when it's in home position. I guess this is normally open. I think they usually are. So this is too small though, but we can still make that fit. Those and oh, that might actually be a problem. I'm not gonna fit the washer there. that is just gonna thread on. I don't want to put it too far, then it's gonna, well, it's gonna break. Just setting that way. So short story short here. So when I connected this now and tried that, it still didn't work. This thing was doing the same thing as this was doing. But so if I would have disconnected the signal wire coming from this, I would have known that this wasn't broken. So the wire the signal wire is connected to, that was the thing showing constant power, not the actual proximity sensor. So there's nothing wrong with this now when I start to measure that. So when I disconnect the signal wire from this and read that, when it got contact and no contact, it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. So there's nothing wrong with this. So yeah, I should have done that, disconnected that before trying to get a value. So now we can see there's nothing wrong with this. So the only thing I can think of is that it's the other, it has to be the other proximity sensor sitting here. So let's check that. So this sensor is now indicating that it's sensing metal. I don't think it should do that when it's furthest out as it is right now. That should only indicate when this thing is fully in. Could it be some shenanigans going on there? Maybe we need to take that off, seeing what's going on in there. Because if that is lighting up, the saw is going to start. You know what? I'm just going to call the guy that sold me this. I believe they should know what's going on with this. Yeah, so in order to take this sensor out, I gotta need to cut the cable there. And yeah, I don't feel like doing that unless it's really needed. So I'm just gonna call the guy that sold me this, seeing what he has to say. Terve, terve. I'm having a little bit of a problem here with the harvester head.
This might be some dirt or something in the front of the rear sensor.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm gonna check on that.
It had to be that. It's the reason when it's not turning, because it's turning this directional wall off.
Yeah, so I think we figure out what's going on with this. So I'm just gonna get this stuck again, since that ain't the problem. So he said you're not supposed to use graphite grease when greasing this in. So I think the grease I'm using is lithium. That shouldn't be conductive as the graphite grease is. But the problem could still be that, so there's some metal shavings. You can feel here. You can see there's some metal shavings, and if that gets stuck in the grease, that could cause a problem. The only thing here is this is squeezed together with the other sensor, so we're gonna need to cut this cable in order to get that out. So I wonder what happened to Gramps. He did fill up his load while I was messing around with this. I guess he landed on the sofa taking a siesta there. Might have been. There are some smaller metal shavings on this that could definitely cause problems. So I'm gonna get this back and we're gonna test it. Alright, now it works. That was an easy fault, but now we know the next time. Okay, no more slow motion. Let's fuel this thing, seeing how much it consumed. The meter says 6.4 hours. It's not really effective work, all of those. Well, the more you use this, the faster it goes. Starting to get a real hang of it now, it feels like. So now when driving it, you kind of know how that thing is going to behave. So by knowing that, it's much easier and smoother and faster when you understand that thing. So that was 25 liters. So that is a hourly consumption of 3.9 liters. That sounds little. Feels like it should be more. But at the same time, it doesn't run heavy. It's just whipping that thing around, and it's not really that heavy. This is an old overpass here. I thought about clearing this, but when I checked where this road actually is going, well, it's overgrown the entire way, but this road is just leading to this road here, going that way, so no point trying to clear that. Oh look, we got some old coffee. Now this is a big can of hot dogs. You can see some markings on there. 2 kilos. The guys were hungry. So I asked Grams what this was, and apparently they used that. So there's a fishing pond back there, and they used this to kind of clear that thing from all the dung and stuff that was in that. So they dragged that through to get the sediments from the bottom up. I wonder if it was the can of 2 kilos of hot dog that broke this outhouse. Oh, look at that! It's a real toilet. What? So this is a place where they did some fish farming. You can see the piping here. So I think they blocked the creek here and then used the pipe to fill this under the summer.